so much. So back to the Zoom teaching first. It will be a quick recap. So wherever you are facing any problem, please let me know in between and I will let you know. So how to use Zoom app effectively in teaching. So you have been using it for 3 months now and you must be well versed with it. But still I came to know that few people are still facing the problem. So that is why this recap session is organized for Zoom class. After that, we will proceed towards the next session, that is how to use G Suite. Now, everyone know how to sign in to the Zoom account. I hope I can skip this step. Everyone knows how to sign in?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
And then after signing in, you have to download the Zoom app in your phone or as an application in your laptop. So all of you have to download it. You are already using it, so there's no point to teach you how to download. Then next is how you can schedule a meeting, which you are very well versed with now. So this portion also I'm skipping. Only during the scheduling a meeting, we have some advanced options. The first one is enable waiting room. When we enable the waiting room, all the participants wait there till the time we admit them. It is being used nowadays because we are blocking the fee defaulters. So waiting room is must. If we disable it, then the participants will be able to join without our permission. Then next is enable join before host. This should never be on because your students will join even before you join. Then mute participants on entry. This feature I believe is available only in the paid versions. Otherwise you have to once open your participants list and click on mute all. So after this, once you have scheduled the meeting, you copy the invitation and you send it to your respective students. Now there are various in-meeting settings that we have to take care while we are teaching or we are doing anything through Zoom. So these are various settings. First is security options in toolbar. We have various security options. We have a separate toolbar which has all the security options, which as a host we should always know so that we have a smooth class. We do not face any difficulty in conducting of the class. The second one is log the meeting. Once all your participants are in, you can log the meeting, and even the people who have the invitation, who have the meeting invitation, will not be able to join once you have logged the meeting. Then remove participants. If you think that you have entered a participant who do not belong to your school or who should not be there in the Zoom meeting, you can easily remove that participant whenever you want. Then put participant on hold. You can put a participant in the waiting room. It is just like sending a student out of the class for 10 minutes. So any mischievous child can be sent to waiting room and can be taken in after 10 minutes. Then disable video. If you find that any of the student is making some inappropriate gestures or is just disturbing the other class, distracting the other class students, so you can disable the video of that particular participant. Then you can mute the participants and you can take the control from them. If you take the control from them, they will not be able to unmute until and unless you tell them to unmute. Then turn off file transfer. In meeting, we have the facility of transferring the files also, like we can transfer a Word, Excel file through the chat box. So we can turn off the file transfer also. Next is turn off annotations. The scribbling that the students do on the screen, that can also be easily turned off. Then disable private chat. If you want that your students should concentrate in your class, then there should be no private chatting between the students. Please take care of this because many of you are still not using this feature. I will tell you how in the preceding slides. Then control screen sharing. You can control that who can share the screen. It is generally the host who share the screen, but it can be done. Minakshi ma'am, please don't annotate. See, yes, we have this feature also to know that who is annotating. So we have, I was telling you about screen sharing. Yes, since I have shared the screen and people starts annotate, so that also can be controlled. Then screen sharing can also be controlled. If you want that your student should share something, like you have given an assignment to make a PPT on some particular topic, and you want to see their PPT one by one. So you can also give them control to share the screen. But in any case, you don't have to make them host. Then control recording. We can record our sessions, but sessions can be recorded only through computer or laptops. It cannot be recorded through your phones. Okay. Only in one case it can be recorded through your phones. If you have a paid version of the Zoom, means you are a paid member of Zoom, and then you can record your meeting in the cloud. Phone do not allow recording of your meetings. Then do not allow participants to rename. Sometimes the students rename themselves with some other name, and then they start, suppose they start sending some abusive language on the chat box, or they rename themselves for putting a proxy attendance of their friend. So this can also be controlled, that the participant should not rename themselves. Then next is turn on waiting room. You can turn on and off the waiting room. Like right now, I have turned off the waiting room so that I'm not bothered to admit these participants, because I know all our teachers and I will not face any problem if I turn off the waiting room. Now, before proceeding about the various controls that I have, let me tell you that we have two views. The first view that you can see on the left side of the screen is the speaker view. Is the, what do we call?
Gallery view.
Gallery
Gallery,
view.
sorry, it's a gallery view which we can see on the left hand side, and on the right hand side we can see the speaker view. So whenever you are attending some webinars or some meetings, you should always keep it on a speaker view so that you can see that person who is talking to you, or who is teaching you. Other thing is, like sometimes it happens that people are keeping their speaker on. So even if you have done speaker view, you will see other people in between those who are talking. So in that case, you can pin. Like here you can see unpin video is coming. Similarly, pin video comes. If you're using phone, it is by double tapping on that person that the video gets pinned. So even if the other people are talking during the speaker view, you will not face any problem and you will see the speaker uninterruptedly. So after that, so this I have already told you that we can pin the video. For pinning the video, you will click on these three dots and you will find the option of pin video. And once you have pinned, then you can unpin from here. Then after that, this is the complete features that we have to control our meeting settings. So this is the security. Then we have participants, we have chat, then share screen, then record, then reactions. I will cover each one of them one by one. Now here, when you click on the security, we have some options like we can lock the meeting, we can enable or disable the waiting room, then we can allow participants to share screen, we can allow them to chat, but it does not have the complete details. It will either, the participants can either chat or they do not chat. They can either rename or they do not rename. So it does not have details, but it has a quick shortcuts to do something while I am just giving some presentation. Then after this, the next is how to mute and unmute the participants. When you click on the participants, this type of list comes. Right now you can see only one participant because this was a practice session which I did. But here you will find the complete list of participants. Then you will click on mute all. Now, once you click on mute all, this type of box will come. Generally, we do yes, and we think that we have muted the participants. But no, the major magic line is this: allow participants to unmute themselves. So if you will uncheck this, then only, see, you have checked it, means your participants can unmute themselves. So you have to uncheck and then click on yes, then they are permanently muted, and only when you will allow, they can unmute themselves. So this is the basic thing that has to be kept in mind, that you have to allow the participants to unmute themselves. This is to be unchecked for muting them permanently. But as for now, I think our students are trained enough, and even in my IT classes, I do not use this feature. I allow them to unmute and they use it judiciously. I don't face any problem that any student is creating noise. Our students have also learned the ethics of how they can attend the Zoom class. Don't know about others, but I'm not at all facing any problem in my class. Now, the next is, again, when you will click on these three dots, we have some other things related to the participants, like mute participants upon entry. If we click on it, all the new users who will join during my meeting, they will be muted. Then allow participants to unmute themselves. It is the same box which I told you just now. Then allow participants to rename themselves. When it is checked, the participants can rename themselves. So you can allow it only for 2 minutes so that they enter with their name, class and roll number. And after that, you can uncheck it so that the person do not rename himself further. Then play sound when someone joins or leaves. If you click it, a sound will be played if someone is leaving or joining your meeting. Then enable waiting room. It can be disabled from here only. Then lock meeting, to lock the meeting even for the participants who have the invite for your meeting. Then merge meeting to window. This particular chat box will be merged to your window. After that, now, to block unwanted, distracting or inappropriate gestures on the video. As I told you earlier also, if a person is creating some inappropriate gestures or showing any obscene content or just distracting the classmates, so you can stop the video of that particular participant. You just have to go to that particular participant, click on more, and then you have to click on stop video. So video of that person will be stopped and he will not be able to on it again. Now, put attendees on hold and their video and audio connections will be disabled temporarily. Now, if I want that a particular person should be given punishment and he should be in the waiting room for 10 minutes, just like we send a student out of the class for 10 minutes. So we can just go to that particular person, click on more, and then we can click on put in waiting room. So this will disable that particular participant from your class, and when you will allow that person from the waiting room, then only he will enter your class again. Now next is the chat feature. Now for the chat, here you can see to everyone. If it is to everyone, all your participants can chat with everyone in your class. Just a second. Now here you can see we have some other options. Please look at it carefully, everyone. See, we have first this option is there, everyone publicly and privately. When this option is clicked, so what will happen? The students can chat on the personal window of the classmates and also on everyone. So they can even chat privately and they can chat publicly. Okay. But if this is unchecked and this is checked, everyone publicly, so they cannot talk on the personal windows of their classmates. They can talk on either everyone or to you as a host. Okay. Then next is host only. If you click on host only, they will not be able to chat with everyone. Okay, they will be able to chat only with the host. So this is the best setting that I would suggest that you should keep in your class, that chatting should be between the student and the host only. Okay, any abusive words, if anything is posted on everyone publicly, so it becomes an issue. But if it is on host only, so only you can see it and you can check on that particular student privately. And if you click on no one, then there can be absolutely no chatting in your class, not even with you and not even with the other participants, other students. Now, next is share screen. Now, when you have to share the screen, teachers, please remember that even if the students have to share the screen, you don't have to make them host. Shared screen can be done by the participants also, but only when you will allow them. So how to allow the participants to share screen? See, here you can see the share screen option. Now, when you click on this arrow, you will find these three options. One participant can share at a time, multiple participants can share simultaneously, and then advanced sharing option. So if you want your student to share something, Click on multiple participants can share simultaneously. Then click on advanced sharing options. And here you can see how many participants can share at the same time. So you have to keep it as multiple participants can share simultaneously. Who can share? All participants, but you can take the control over here. Who can start sharing when someone else is sharing? So only host. तो ऐसा नहीं होगा कि some one particular student is sharing and others are disturbing him by sharing their screen, because you have given permission to all participants to share. But if you click on this host only, so if someone is sharing, then only you can share the second screen, no one else. So though you are giving the permission to all the participants to share, but you can keep this with you. Who can start sharing when someone else is sharing? Only host, and you are the host, so there will be no disruption in your class. So these were the sharing options. Now next is when you are sharing, like you just click on this share screen button. So whatever you wish to share, that should be minimized on your screen in advance. Okay, like suppose I want to share the PowerPoint presentation. So I can keep my presentation in advance, and then I can see it here. When I will click on this share screen, I will see my presentation over here. I will click on that particular presentation and then I will click on share. Okay. If I click on screen and then share, then my complete laptop is shared and all the folders which are visible on the desktop can be seen by everyone. Okay. So if you want to keep it a private thing, then you choose a particular presentation and share that only. If you want to access many things at a time, like suppose I have my IT class, I want to share share the IT book with them. I want to give them hands-on experience by opening Excel, Word. So in that case, I have to click on screen and then click on share, because I have to use many windows to share. Okay. So in that case, you can share your complete laptop or computer, whatever you are using. But if you have to work with only one presentation, so you have to choose that presentation. It will come in this list only if it is minimized on your computer. So click on this and then click on share. So that particular presentation will only be shared and your privacy is protected. Now,
Gunjan ma'am, 1 minute. Where will it be visible? This, yes, this.
ma'am, when we click on this, but not on the arrow, when we click on share screen. Is that clear?
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. Now the next thing is, now I have started sharing my screen. Okay. And now what happens? This. The students start scribbling. Yes. So this scribbling can be stopped immediately by the person who is sharing the screen. Please note this, that if you have given the permission to a student to share the screen, then he can only control the scribbling on his screen. Okay, you as a host can remove the scribbling, but you cannot bar the scribbling. Okay, so जिसकी भी screen share हुई है वो ही control कर सकता है कि उसकी screen पे कोई annotate ना करे. Now here you can see how to stop the scribbling. You have to click on this bar and then you have to click on more. Now here you can see show names of annotators. Show names of annotators. जैसे ये scribble करके हटेगा, यहाँ पर लिखा हुआ आ जाएगा कि who is that person who is scribbling. Okay. So if you want to find out, suppose this is a regular feature in your class that people are scribbling on your screen and you are very much irritated. So you can catch hold of that particular person by clicking on show name of annotators. Okay. Otherwise, if you don't want to catch hold and you just want the smooth functioning of your class, you can click on disable participants annotation. Okay, they have already scribbled. So first step you will do is that you will disable participant annotation so that they cannot scribble further. After that, next what you will do is you will go to the scribble option, annotate option, and then this will open, this toolbar will open. Then click on clear and then click on clear all drawings. This is wrong over here, it should be here. So you will click on this annotate option. This toolbar will open, then click on clear all drawings. So all the annotations which were done by the participants, that all will be cleared, and since you have barred them in the previous step, this disable participants annotations, you have barred them in the previous step. So they will not be able to do it further. Okay. So I have saved myself from any further tension of scribbling on the screen. Okay. So whenever you
So,
want to, yeah,
Gunjan ma'am, please one thing.
you want me to
Yes,
repeat?
Gunjan one thing, Gunjan ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Can this option of no scribbling is on the phone?
Yes, it is on phone also.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. So both these options help us to stop our participants from scribbling the screen. Once it is scribbled, we have to disable, and after disabling, we have to clear all drawings. Okay. And after that, you can scribble on the screen. You can scribble means like you want to show something important. So you can use the pen and you can underline it, you can highlight it. So you can scribble on the screen. It will not affect your presentation. आपने जो presentation बनाई है, it will not be affected, but you can scribble on the screen to highlight the important points. Now after that, how we can stop sharing the screen? By clicking on this stop share option. Okay. So when we click on stop share, we return to the Zoom meeting and we can see the faces of all the participants. Now next is record. We can record our meeting. As I've already told you, recording can be done through laptops only. It cannot be done through phones. So if you're using a laptop, you can start the recording when your actual teaching has started. Like suppose you were...
Gunjan ma'am,
Yes.
in my tablet, this recording option is not there. So what to do in that case?
And this option is there only through laptops.
Ma'am, in my tablet, it is not there. I have checked just now also.
I'm saying that it is available in laptops.
So what to do in the tablet case?
You cannot record.
Okay.
So this is the record option. You should start your recording only when you have actually started teaching. Before that, आप जब भी admit कर रहे हैं students या आप कोई भी बातचीत कर रहे हैं, तो at that time there is no need to record. Yes. There is no need to record at that time. Only when you start your actual teaching, generally when you start sharing the screen and start teaching, at that time you can start recording. Once you will start the recording, you have the option of pause or stop recording. So you can also pause in between, like you have stopped sharing the screen and you are asking for the response from the students. So at that particular time you can pause. Then again you have started sharing the screen. Then what you will do, again you will resume the recording. So this button is used for pause and resume. And suppose you are done with the teaching part, then you can click on stop recording. So this is for stop recording. Okay. So pause recording and stop recording can be used simultaneously according to the requirement. Okay. Then after that, next is the reactions. When you have finished teaching the participants and they are all on the mute mode, or in between the teaching you want to know something from the participants, whether they have understood or not, and they are on mute mode, they cannot unmute. So you can ask for the reactions from them. You can say, give me a thumbs up if this topic is clear to you. So they can give this reactions, thumbs up and clapping. So two reactions they can give. If they feel that your lecture is very good, they can even clap. And if you are asking for some response from them, then in that case, they can give thumbs up. So this is the last slide. Some points that you should remember. These are some recommendations, like use laptop or tab with functioning webcam and mic. So it is better always to use laptop. If you have both the devices with you, laptop and phone, so give preference to laptop. Okay, because in that case, your hands are free to do anything, to teach, to use a chalk, use a pen. But if you are using a phone, then you have to do either you have to hold it or you have to do any other sort of what we say jugaad to hold it. Then the second point is start the meeting in a well illuminated room. Your room should be well illuminated, means there should be a proper light in your room, so that you may develop the interest of the participants in your meeting. If you are sitting in a dull room, the participants will not generate any interest. Then use Wi-Fi connections with good bandwidth. You should always use Wi-Fi and should not rely on the mobile data. So because if you have a good connection, then uninterruptedly your whatever you are talking will be consumed by your students. Then use a clear profile pic to be identified to the participants if live video is off. Means if I switch off my video, my profile pic should be very clear so that the participants can easily know that who I am. Like you can see here, if ma'am switch off her video, then we can clearly see that she is principal ma'am. Then screen out dark videos for the participants.
Gunjan ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, I have put a profile pic, but whenever I switch off my video, my pic is not there.
Ma'am, for that you have to go to settings. Like when you open Zoom, we find some settings over there. Then you will go to video settings and then you will click on always allow me to join with profile pic. Some option is there, you have to check it. And then this profile pic will always be visible when you switch off your camera. Okay. I will send you the screenshot separately for this.
Okay.
Then, ma'am, see here it is. Turn off my video when joining meeting. If you will keep it checked, then your video will always be visible. This is a meeting option. You will find it in settings. Fine, ma'am?
Ma'am, I am talking about the profile pic, not the video.
Even I am talking about this only. अगर आप इसको अनचेक इसको चेक रखते हैं, टर्न ऑफ माय वीडियो व्हाइल जॉइनिंग द मीटिंग, कहां पर करना है आपको ये अनचेक? इन दी सेटिंग्स. जूम की सेटिंग्स जब आप खोलते हैं वहां पे थाउजेंड्स ऑफ सेटिंग्स आती हैं. लाइक zoom.us पे आपने क्लिक किया या फिर आपका जो जूम ऐप है उस पे गए तो वहां पर एक सेटिंग्स का वो आता है ऑप्शन, दैट गेयर बॉक्स. उस पे आप क्लिक करेंगे तो वहां पर आपकी वीडियो सेटिंग्स होंगी. Then if you will keep this check, turn off my video when joining the meeting, so your profile pic will always be displayed.
Okay.
And the last option is screen out dark videos. If you will click on this option of screening out dark videos, so all the participants who have kept their video off, they will not be visible when you go to the gallery view. Only the participants who have kept their video on will be visible. Okay. So when you feel like you are talking to walls, those black windows, they are sometimes irritating and you feel that whether you are talking to walls or what. So you can just screen out those dark videos and see only the participants whose video is on. So with this, I reached to the end of my meeting of Zoom. If there's still any queries, please for the day is using G Suite. Now, what does this G Suite means? It is the Google Suite. The word suite means the collection of something. So G Suite means the collection of Google-based apps. We all are using various Google apps. Like you can see in the picture over here, we are using Gmail. Then we are using Google Docs. We are using Google Sheets. We are using Google Forms, Drive, Calendar. So all these apps together are called as G Suite. So let us proceed towards the learning of the G Suite today. What are the benefits of G Suite for a teacher, or why should we use it? So we can use it. We can use G Suite for communication. If we want to communicate with our colleagues or with our students, then we can use these features like Gmail, Hangout. Hangout is the messenger of the Google. Then we can use Calendar and we can use Google Plus. Though Google Plus is not of much importance these days. I hope you know that Google Plus is like a Facebook. It is a social networking site. Then for collaboration means for collective working, we can use docs, sheets, slides, forms, and sites. All of them I will cover in my forthcoming presentation. And for storage, we can use Drive. Now, what are the features of G Suite? Why we should use G Suite? First is, the most useful trait of G Suite is that the software works mostly on the cloud. What does the cloud mean? You might be aware that Google Suite, that is G Suite, works on a cloud. Cloud means that whenever you save any document or you save any sheet or a form, whatever you are creating in this G Suite, it is not occupying the memory on your phone or the memory on your computer. All the things that you make in G Suite are saved in a cloud. Whenever you create a Google account, then you are given a 15 GB of space on the cloud. So whatever documents you are creating in the Google Docs or in the Google Cloud, they are all saved in the cloud, and saving your phone and your laptops to be occupied with such a large amount of documents. Then second feature of G Suite is work on the go. You can work from anywhere, anytime. Okay, it does not require that you will always on your laptop and you will sit on your workplace and then only you can work. If you are using the G Suite, you can work anywhere. You are traveling from one place to another. On the way, while you are getting bored, you can open your Google Docs, you can start working on them. Or you are away from home, you don't have your laptops and phones with you, you can, sorry, you don't have your laptops with you. Phone, we cannot say every time phone is with us. So you can just open the phone and continue with the work which you were doing on the laptop. Then third thing is you can share and edit together. Multiple people can work on the same document together, then automatically save to the web. Whenever you are working in G Suite, whatever you are making, whether it is a document or spreadsheet or a presentation, it will automatically be saved. Like sometimes in the past, not these days, you used to come to me with your pen drives. Then when I open the file, you say, oh, I forgot to save the last changes. So this will not happen if you will start using G Suite and edit Office documents. Even the Microsoft Office documents, that is .docx for the Word file, .xlsx for the Excel file, all these Office documents can also be edited using the G Suite. So next is do your best work all in one suite. So you can connect with the help of G Suite, you can create, you can access, and you can control. We have all these lots of apps which can help us to do all these four things: connect, create, access, and control. So let us see how we can use G Suite practically. So enough of this slide shows. Now we will have hands-on experience. If some people are using phone and they have laptop with them, please on the laptop and please have hands-on experience so that if you face any problem, you can ask it at that very. First of all, you have to click on google.com. Then you will find sign in over here. You will click on it. If your accounts are already saved, you will find a list over there. If they are not saved, you will click on use another account. Then you will give your email ID and password. And then you will click on next. And you will be signed in with your Google ID. Now you can see instead of sign in, you are finding Google G over here. This stands for Gunjan. Okay, it means I am signed into it. Whatever is your Gmail ID is also your Google ID. Gmail stands for Google Mail only. So Gmail ID is your Google ID. And same ID is used for using all the apps of the Google. Okay. So when we click on this over here, we find all the apps which are available for us to use. Okay. You can see there are lots of apps, but I will teach you only 4 or 5 which will help you in teaching and in maintaining the records during this tough times. So here you can see Docs, Sheets, and Slides. Docs is the replacement for Microsoft Word. Sheets is the replacement for Microsoft Excel. Slides is the replacement for Microsoft PowerPoint. Okay, so we are basically always using these 3 apps. These are the most 3 things that we generally use while we are using a computer to maintain the records. Either we will create a document, or we will create an Excel sheet, or we will create a PPT. So all these 3 things are also available in Google Suite. Okay, I will tell all of them one by one. Besides this, I will also tell you about the Google Drive. Here you can see the Drive option. This also I will tell you in detail, and I will also tell you how you can create the forms in Google and how you can create the test in Google. Okay, so let me proceed with Google Docs. I will click on Docs. Now this window will open. This is a window which stores all my docs. All the docs that I have already created in my Google Drive will be shown here. See here, you can see the recent documents. All the recent documents on which I have worked will be here. Here you can see owned by me. If I will click on owned by anyone, so I will find all the documents which are shared with me by some other people also. Like some other person has shared a Google Drive link with me. So all those will also be visible. But if I want to see only my documents, then I will click on owned by me. And all the documents which are owned by me, which are created by me, will be visible over here. Okay. Now you can create a new, before creating new, you should know this, that we have some templates also over here. Like you can see this is the template for resume. So without much efforts, you can create your resume over here. Then this is for a letter. This is for the project proposal. This is for the brochure. Okay, so these templates can also be used. Now I'm telling you how we can create a blank document. Now this is the blank document, similar to the Microsoft Word document. Nearly all the features of Microsoft Word you will find here also. So now suppose I want to type some text over there. I'm copying some text and then I'm pasting it over here. Now there is some text over here which I'm using on my Google Doc. Now there are various things that you can do besides the various formatting options that we already have. Like we can do bold, we can do italic, we can increase or decrease the size, we can change the color. All these things that we generally do in Microsoft Word, we can do it over here also. But besides that, we have some other options also, which are available only in Docs. Now, what are those options? I'll tell you one by one. Like we will go to tools and we have option of voice typing. Now we can type using our voice. Hello everyone. Today we have gathered here to gain some information on Google Suite. So here you can see that we can easily type using this feature. Now when I will click on it, it will stop typing. Clear? We can also type in Hindi over here. Before Hindi teachers ask, let me tell it myself only. We will search for the Hindi font and then now I will type in Hindi. नमस्कार, आज हम Google Suite के बारे में जानने के लिए एकत्रित हुए हैं. So this is how you can type in English and Hindi both. And there is no point of making a Word file now. You can automatically, you can by default make it your word processor. Open just a Google Doc, prepare the notes for the students, whatever notes you wish to share. You can prepare it in the Google Doc itself and then share the Google Doc itself with the students. So this is how you can create a Google Doc. It also has some other features like you can insert equations. If you wish to insert the equation, you will click on insert, click on equation. And similarly, as we have in Microsoft Word, all the features for typing the equations is available here also. You are already, maths teachers are already well versed with using these equations. So I'm not going into the detail of it. Then you can also do one very important thing that you can do is you can research. Research means, like suppose you are making a note on, you're making notes on photosynthesis. So you can easily add the data from Google. And besides adding, you can also give the citation. As principal ma'am was telling you yesterday, that whenever you are using someone's work, she was telling that she even changed the words so that it does not come to the copyright issue. The same thing, if we are taking some data from Google, we should always give the citation that we have referred to which site. So this can also be done. For that, we will go to tools and then we will click on research. No. Sorry, it is not in tools. It is on the right hand side, that is explore. We will click on explore. Now, once we will click on explore, here we can type whatever we wish to explore. I've written photosynthesis over here. The same way as you find the results in the Google, you will find it over here. Now, whatever you feel, like you feel that I will take something from Wikipedia. So what you will do, you will click on this button, cite as footnote. When you will click on this button, it will be added as a footnote over here that you have taken reference from photosynthesis, Wikipedia, and the complete link, and you have told at what time you have accessed it. So you have given the complete information about the website that you are going to use for creating your notes. So you will click on this now. Now, whatever portion you feel that was required in your notes, you will copy, and then again you will go back and then you will paste. So you have taken a particular paragraph and you have also given citation that I have used it from this particular website. So you will not face any copyright issues in such case. Then after research and voice typing, equations also have told you. Another very good feature is the translate option. You can translate the complete thing for your students who do not understand English. Yeah, for parents who do not understand English. So here you can see, I'm removing this Hindi part from here. Now I have a complete English document over here, which I want to share with a parent who do not understand English. So I will go to tools, then I will click on translate document. Then I will choose the language in which I want to translate. I've chosen Hindi. It will save it as a copy, translated copy of untitled document. Why it is showing untitled document? Because I have not saved it yet. After that, I will click on translate. Here you can see one more tab has opened and the complete thing is translated into Hindi. Okay, so it is a second copy of your document and it is for the people who do not understand English. So it can be translated into their language so that they can also understand. Aapka kuch nahi laga, but other people is able to understand it properly when you give a translated copy to that particular person. So all these things you can do in Google Docs, besides all the things that you can do in Microsoft Word. All the features which are available in Microsoft Word, like alignment, bold, italic, underline, changing color, highlighting, changing size, font, everything can be done over here also. You can insert pictures, go to insert, click on image. Then image also you can search from the web directly. You have written photosynthesis, related pictures will come, click on it and click on insert. That particular picture will be inserted. Okay, so no need to copy and paste it on your desktop first. Like we generally do, we search for the pictures on Google, then we save it on our computer, then we insert. We can do it directly over there. Okay, now the basic advantage of using Google Docs. These were the various features that we can use in Google Docs. But what is the advantage of using Google Docs? That is, I told you, we can use it on the go. We can share it. Multiple people can work on it together. How? This I will tell you now. This sharing is same in all the things, whether it is docs or it is spreadsheet or it is slides. So please look at it carefully because I will not repeat the sharing portion. So you will click on share. Okay, see it is saying you have to save it first because I have not given the name. Though it is being saved, every moment it is being saved, but I have not given the name to the document. So it is asking me to give the name first. Now I've given the name sample1. Now I will click on share. Now there are three ways in which you can share. The first one is you can give the email ID of the people with whom you want to share. Suppose I want to share it with Seema ma'am. I want to share it with my husband. Two people I want to share with. So I can write the email IDs of the people with whom I want to share. These were added already, so that is why I was able to add them. Otherwise, I can type also. It will show me all the suggestions from my Gmail. Gmail में जिनकी भी IDs मेरे पास add हुई हैं, I will get the suggestion. Like I want to add Nancy, I will write NA and it will give me the suggestion. Okay, so we can add the email IDs of the people with whom I want to share it. Then I can give 3 types of rights to them. I can make them viewer. If I make them viewer, they can only see what I'm showing, but they cannot make any changes to it. I can make them commenter. They can leave their comments, or I can make them editor. If I make them editor, they can make changes in the document. Okay. As for now, I'm removing all these email IDs. The second option is by clicking over here. Now you can find there's a link over here. You can share this link, but who can access your link? That you can control. Anyone with the link, anyone who is having this link, they can either be viewer, they can either be commenter, or they can either be editor. So if you are giving it as an editor, you are giving anyone with the link is the editor. So when you will share the link with those people, they can edit, but it is not that much secure because you are giving the editing rights and you are giving the link. So if that person shares it with someone else, he can also edit. Then that someone else share it with someone else, then he can also edit. So it is less secure. If you want a complete full security, then the best thing is by adding the email IDs of those people who can edit, and then sharing it with the help of email. They will receive it as an email on their email IDs, and they can access the document from there. Please let me know if there's any problem regarding sharing. I hope it is clear to everyone.
It is clear.
Yeah. So there are only 3 ways to share, either through email or through link. And link can be shared in 3 ways. You can make a person editor, you can make him a commenter, or you can make him a viewer. Even with the people with whom you are sharing with email, again, you can do all the 3 things. You can make him editor, viewer, or commenter. Okay. So this is how you share a file with the people. Now, what is the point of sharing the file? Sometimes while teaching, while doing the various activities in school, we come across the situation where many of us have to work together on a file. Suppose we are generating the information brochure for the next session. So all the coordinators have to work on it together. Even it is given to the various departments, like examination department is given a copy of it to find out if there are any mistakes. So instead of that, we can share that particular document on Google Docs, and all of us, means all the concerned people, can work on it together. Even it can happen that we can give editing rights only to the coordinators, and we can give viewing rights to the other concerned teachers. So this can totally be controlled, and the work can be done in lesser time and with more accuracy. So this was all about Google Docs. If there's any problem, please ask me. Yes, Richa ma'am, it is the same way. I have shared the links for marks feeding. Okay, so let me proceed to the next part. That is the Google Sheets. Click on this. Now I will create a blank. See, all my recent owned by anyone is there, owned by me. All my recent Excel files I will find over here. Now I can also create a blank file. See, a Excel-like file you can see on the screen. It has again all the features which Excel has. You can use it for record maintenance, like serial number, name. Now suppose I'm maintaining the marks, PT1, then notebook, then C, then PT2. Now suppose I'm maintaining the records of the students. So I will do it this way. I will create a spreadsheet and I will start maintaining the records of the students. If I do not share it with anyone, it is my personal file and I can access it from anywhere, anytime. And if I share it with someone, then it depends upon the rights that I have given. If I have given the viewer rights, they can only view. If I have given the editing rights, they can edit, and they can even download and save it as a copy on their computer. So these are just random marks. Though C and notebook are not for so much marks. Okay, I'm just correcting it. Now PT2 is of 80 marks. So out of 80, I'm giving some marks. Now we can also do the calculations the same way as we do in Excel. Like I want to sum all of them. So I will have to write equal to. Whenever we are doing any formula, equal to is must. Then I will click on the sign. Then I'll put a plus sign. Then this. Then again plus. Then this. Plus this. Then we will press enter. It will be totaled. We have to enter the formula only once. After that, we have to drag it using the fill handle. All the future entries will also be added like this. So this is only the basic features of Excel. I'm not here to tell you about Excel now. I'm telling you about the sheets. So all the things that you can do in a spreadsheet, that is in an Excel, you can do it here also. This is a spreadsheet of Google. Like you can make the headings bold, you can change the color. Then you can increase or decrease the size. All the things which you can do in Excel can also be done over here. Okay, the sharing is same. You can click on share. Okay, again, I have not saved it. So I have to save it first. Suppose I'm saving with name C1. And see, you must have noticed I'm not saving anything. I'm not saving. I'm not clicking on the save button. See, when I start typing, you can see over here. Everyone please see here. When I start typing, you can see saving is there. Can you see the saving part over here? So as soon as I do something, it saves itself. So I'm not bothered to save anything. Whatever I will do, it will be saved automatically. Though I can undo the things whenever it is required. Okay, so this was about spreadsheet. Again, for sharing it, we have same options. We can either share it through mail or we can share it with the link, and then we can give the rights. Anyone who is having the link can be viewer, commenter or editor. Any doubts in this? Teachers, please let me know if there's any doubt in sheets.
It's clear.
Okay. Now, see in sheets, one more thing we can do is we can use add-ons, not only in sheets, in docs, in sheets, in slides, on Drive. We can use add-ons also. We can use some add-ons. From here, we can get add-ons, and we have various add-ons. Like one add-on is SheetGo. In SheetGo, what happens? Whatever data you will receive, it can be sorted. Like suppose I'm receiving the data of various classes together, 6A, 6B, 6C, then 7th A, all the other classes are sending me data. Like you remember I have made one app. So all of you were together sending me the data of various classes. So I can apply an add-on over here, which is called as SheetGo, which automatically sorts the data class-wise. And I can schedule it. Like I can schedule that after every 24 hours, it will sort the data. After every 12 hours, it will sort the data. Yeah, every hour it can sort. So these add-ons are also very helpful. Though we should take care कि हम बहुत ज़्यादा add-ons use ना करें, because we have to give permission to these add-ons. Just like we install an app on our phone, so we give the permission for everything. Same way, when we install an add-on, we give permission to access our Google Docs and Drive. So it should not be used much, but whenever we are caught in something which is creating a problem for us, we can always use the add-on and then we can remove it later on. Now the third thing is the slides. This is used for creating the presentation. Blank. Now here you can see blank presentation, just like you see it in PowerPoint. All the options related to slide, new slide, duplicate slide, layout of the slide, then applying transition and animations, they are all available over here. I will not go into the detail of it, but yes, you can create your own presentations over here, the full-fledged presentation which has transitions and animations, and then you can share it directly There's no need to carry your pen drive from one place to another. You can open your Google Docs and share it directly from here. Now, the next thing that I'm proceeding to is the drive.
Gunjan ma'am,
Yes, ma'am.
may I ask one question?
Yes, yes.
Ma'am, just like if we are using this, you can say slide now, just
Yes.
like PowerPoint presentation. Is there any provision, can we convert PowerPoint presentation into PDF format or?
Yes, yes ma'am, you can do everything. I will tell you how. Just give me 2 minutes, it will be covered.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Now see, I'm opening Drive now. Now what is Drive? Whatever documents you are making, whether you are making a doc or you are making a sheet or you are making a slide, all of them are saved here. Here you can see I've created just now the doc which I named as sample 1. It is visible here. I created a sheet C1. It is again visible here. So what is Drive? Drive is just like the drive on my computer. Can you see the various drives on my computer? C, D, E, F. Now, if I click on any drive, I can find some folders. Now, inside this folders, I can see the various subfolders. I can see the various files. Files are of various types. It can be a picture, it can be a spreadsheet, it can be a Word document. So all these are stored together in my F drive, in the F drive of my laptop. So similarly, we have Google Drive, which stores all types of files. Okay, though I have told you that how you can use docs or slides or sheets separately, but this is a one place from where you can do everything. Like you can click on new and then you can click on Google Docs. Then you can click on Google Sheets. You can click on Google Slides. So it is better if you don't go to those apps individually. Better you always make it a habit to work from the drive. Why so? If you're working directly in the drive, you will be able to organize your things in a better way. See, here I can show you. This is a folder in my drive, which is called as test. Now, all the tests which I have taken in the recent, you will find all the tests together. On the other hand, अगर यही test मैंने अलग से sheet में जाकर बनाए होते, तो they would have been lying in my drive haphazardly, means they would not have been organized. But if I'm using drive, see, suppose I'm creating a new folder and I'm giving it a name demo. Now inside the demo folder, once it is created, it's working on it. See, now this folder is created. Now when this folder is on, then I can create my Google Doc. I'm naming it as ABC. Now I'm closing it. Now see, inside this demo folder, you will find my doc ABC. Okay, so अगर आप drive use कर रहे हैं, तो you can keep your things more organized. On the other hand, if you're using those apps separately, so these things cannot be organized and they will lie as it is on your drive. It will be difficult to find. But if you organize your things properly, just now I show you that I've organized all my tests in one folder, so I can find them easily and they can be reused also in the future. On the other hand, if they lie like that only, you will also forget that you have made any test and you will also not be able to search them. You will not be able to remember the names also. Okay, so this is how we can organize our things with the help of Drive. Yes, someone was asking how to create it into the PDF form. So suppose I'm opening this sample 1. Now you can do all the things on it. Like you can click on this button. Sorry. You can click on file and then you can download it. You can download it as Microsoft Word document. Though it is a doc, it is saved on the cloud. But if I click on download and Microsoft Word, it will be downloaded as a Word file in my computer, which I can save it for my future reference. Then I can also download it as PDF. Someone was asking this only. Then I can also download it into OpenOffice format, which is used in LibreOffice. Or I can download it as a notepad, rich text format. So these are various download options that I can use to create a copy of this particular file on my computer. Similarly, I can also upload a file onto my computer. See, if this is a drive, I will click on new and then I will click on file upload. Now I will suppose I have made a Excel file and I want to share it. This is IT students record. This is an Excel file which is saved in the F drive of my computer. Now I will click on it. I will click on open. Now it will take some time. It has been uploaded. Now you will find it in the recent. This IT students record has been uploaded to my Google Drive. Suppose I'm working on it and now I have to travel for 3 hours. So I can just upload it on my Google Drive and on the go while I'm traveling, I can open this in my drive and I can make further changes in it. Okay. And I can also open it with Google Sheets. So it will be created into, it will be converted into a sheet and then I can use it as if I'm using a Google Sheet. Okay. So this is how we can use the drive. Now proceeding towards the Google Forms. Google Forms are used for collection of data. Now see, just now I have shared with you that how you can create a spreadsheet and how you can share it with other people so that they can also add marks to it, or you are sharing a doc and other people can also edit it. But don't try this on your students. Like suppose 9th class teachers are doing registration for the students and they created a spreadsheet and they tell the all the students to fill the data, their mother's name, father's name, or whatever data is required. You ask them to fill it in a sheet. So you can never rely on the students. What they will do, they will fill their data accurately, but they will hamper with others' data. Okay, they will change the father's name, mother's name, just to prank to their classmates. They will keep on hampering the other people data. So whenever you need to make any collection, means you want any sort of data collection to be done, it has to be done through Google Forms. Okay. Now let us take the example. In the recent past, you received a message that you should have a Gmail ID of every student. Now, what you all have done, you have invited so much trouble to you people. You broadcasted a message on your WhatsApp groups that we require a Gmail ID and everyone please send it on my personal window. Now you have invited trouble for yourself. How? Those 35 students will send their mail IDs on your personal window. Then you will open an Excel sheet and then you will start creating a record of all those email IDs. Email IDs are also very sensitive. If you create any mistake, you miss a single alphabet, the email ID will become wrong. So you have yourself invited trouble for you that you have to engage yourself in a huge work of just collecting the email ID of your students. So this can easily be done with the help of Google Forms. For that, you will click on this and then you will click on more and then you will click on Google Forms. So this type of form will open. First of all, you can name the form. Suppose I'm naming it as email ID collection. The name that you will give over there will automatically come as a heading, as the title of your form. Now, you want the name of the student. So you will click on short answer. You will write, enter your name. Okay. You will just type this question. There's a space for typing the name. And then you will make it as required field, means the student cannot skip it. He has to fill this name. After that, you will click on this plus sign to add a question. Your email ID. Again, you will make it a short answer type. Then whenever you ask for email, You can enable email collection settings. What will happen if you will enable, वो उसमें auto text देगा @gmail.com, @yahoo.com. So students will be saved from typing the complete email IDs. So after just by adding these two fields, you have created a form through which you can collect the email IDs of the students. So here you can see enter your name, enter your email ID. If anything else is required, that also you can add. Now, once you have created this form, you can see how it will appear to your students. You can see it with the help of this preview button, this I-shaped button you can see here. You will click on this preview and it will show that how it will appear to your students. Enter your name, enter your email ID. They will just enter their name, they will enter their email ID, and then they will click on submit. Okay, so once it is done by all the 35 students, then you can use it. You can download that spreadsheet as an Excel sheet on your computer, and you just have to share it with Anil sir or any other concerned person. So the thing which could have been done so easily, we ourselves invite trouble for such things. Now I will show you how you can collect the responses. I'm filling this. Enter your name. I'm entering my name and my email ID. And I am submitting it. Now, once I have submitted, here you can see in my form, responses ke aage you can see one is there. It means I have received one response. I will click on it and then I will generate a spreadsheet for it. Create spreadsheet. Create a new spreadsheet and then create. Now, a new spreadsheet will be created over here, and here you can see the response along with the timestamp. At what time the person has submitted it. You can see the response, your name and your email ID. So similarly, this form can be filled, submit another response. You can also restrict to one response only. That also I will tell you. Now I'm entering the second name, the email ID. Submit. And immediately after submit, you will find it's still moving. You will find the second record. So once you find that all the records have been received, what you have to just do is you will go to file, then you will click on download Microsoft Excel, and this will be downloaded as an Excel file onto your computer. See.
Gunjan ma'am, how did you do that drop box for the sections?
For the sections?
Class wise,
Which sections,
there
ma'am?
was that test I sent you, na?
I think
yes, ma'am. I'm telling you.
MCQ option will be selected for that, na, multiple choice.
Yes, ma'am. I'm telling all types. Just give me 2 minutes. So I was just telling you that how you can create an Excel sheet and you can download and share it. So this was about just an example that I gave you about collection of the responses from the students. Now there are various types of questions that you can add. I'm going to tell you one by one. You have to click on add question. Now you can choose multiple choice, or you can choose check boxes, or you can choose drop down. These three are the ones which have options with them. Like suppose I'm choosing drop down. Now, as in your test most test, you ask the students to enter your name, class and section, but still some of them miss the class and section. Some of them miss the roll number. So to avoid this, you can do it here in Google Forms, and you don't give them the option for not doing it. Like you can tell them to choose your class. And in option 1, you can give 7th A. In option 2, 7th B. Then 7th C. As many options you want, you can add 7th D. All the 4 options I have added. I'm changing it to enter your name. Okay, name is already there. So I'm removing this. Now we have asked for the name from the student. and we have asked for the class of the student. Now see, I will show you here in the preview how it will appear. Enter your name. Now choose your class. Now they have no option of typing anything. They have to choose it. They have to choose any of these section from here. So this is done with the help of drop down. The same thing can also be converted into MCQ. If you convert it into MCQ and then you see the preview, the options will come like this. Then you can also convert it into check boxes. Check boxes are generally used when we want the students to choose more than one option. Like you are giving an MCQ in which there are 2 options which are correct. So you can give, I will show you in the preview. See, here they can choose more than one option. So whenever you are using any question in which the student can choose more than one option, so you have to use this check boxes. So these 3 can be used depending upon the situation. It can be multiple choice, it can be check box, it can be drop down. I've shown you the preview of all 3. Then before that, we have short answer in paragraph. Short answer is generally used for taking the input from the students, like enter your name, enter your class, enter your father's name, enter your mother's name. So that can be done with short answers. Then if you want some long answers from the students, that has to be done with paragraph. But remember, if you are converting this form into quiz, all those which are short answer and paragraph, that you have to mark manually. They will not be auto-calculated. Only the objective type answers can be auto-calculated, but not the short answer or the paragraph type of answer. I hope I'm clear. Now next is file upload. This should not be used with the students. I'm leaving this as for now because it is of no use. Next is linear scale. For linear scale, like how did you find training session? And in the label of 1, I can give average, and in 5, I can give excellent. Now I'll show you the preview. It is loading. Now see, here in the preview, you can see how did you find this training. You must have seen while feeding the feedbacks of the workshop that you attend. So the student or the participant can rate you. They can give the rating. Excellent, if it is, then he will give 5. If it is average, he will give 1, or he can give anything in between. So this is done with the help of linear scale. Then next type of question that you can include is multiple choice grid. It is used whenever you want to give some match the following. For that, I will show you one of my already made files so that some time is saved. It's already 5:42 and the meeting will end at 6. So I will open my drive and I'll show you one of my already made tests. Now in test, I will show you one of my tests over here. Now see, this is the test and I will show you a MCQ. Now here you can see a MCQ based question. Now here I have written all my options on the left hand side and others on the right hand side. See, I'll click and show. This is the row headings and these are the columns. So I've given octal number system, hexadecimal, decimal, binary. And here I've given 2, 8, 10 and 16. Students have to match it. So for matching, we use this multiple choice grid. I'll show you how it appears to the students. See, for students, it will appear like this. Octal number system, they will choose 8. Hexadecimal number system, they will choose 16. Decimal, 10. Binary, 2. So this way, they can attempt this multiple choice, this match the following type of question. Then we can also choose tick box grid. It is same as MCQ, but here the user can tick more than one option. Then next is date. If you want a date as the input, like you want enter your date of birth, DOB. So if you will click on this, so the person will be able to fill date in this format, day, month and year. And the last option over here, if you want your participants to fill some time, so you can keep it as time. Okay, so these were all various sorts of questions that we can include. Short answer, paragraph, MCQs, checkbox, drop down, linear scale, multiple choice grid, tick box grid, date and time. Be auto marked. You have to mark them manually. Now I will tell you how you can make it a quiz. So for that, you will go to this settings option. We have 3 tabs over here. First is general, second is presentation, third is quizzes. Now when you click on general, we have an option of limit to 1 response. Richa ma'am was asking me yesterday this thing. We have this option of limit to 1 response. A student will be able to give only 1 response. But the only drawback in this is that it requires sign in. Means the device that person is using should be signed in with the Google. Right? Like if a person is using a phone, तो phone जो है उसका Google ID से sign in होना चाहिए. Then only this option can be used. So if you click on limit to 1 response and then you share your quiz, then you may get a lot of queries from the people who are not that much tech savvy. You can get the queries from them that we are not able to log in. It is asking to log in first. So depending upon the people with whom you are sharing, like when I'm sharing it with my 10th class, I'm doing this option, limit to 1 response, because I know that they are grown up enough and they should know that they should sign in to answer my quiz. So we have to the option of edit after submit. अगर हम इसको check करते हैं, then the person can even edit after submitting. So we should keep it unchecked. Then see summary charts and text responses. This should also be unchecked. Then presentation. Now, if there are a lot of questions in your quiz, then you can click on show progress bar. So it will show as a progress bar that how much portion the student has covered and how much is left. Then you can also shuffle the question order. If you want that it should not come in a particular order for all the students, you can shuffle the question order. Then show link to submit another response. This should always be unchecked. Whenever we are conducting quizzes, it should always be unchecked. Show link to submit another response, because we don't want the students to submit the other response. Then last thing and the most important thing is going to quizzes tab. Now I will click on make this a quiz. If I'm not making this a quiz, it will remain a form. And if I'm making it a quiz, it will become a quiz. Now in a quiz also, we have some options like immediately after e-submission. You want to release marks, you want to tell the marks immediately after submission, so you should keep it. Or you can keep it later after manual review. Later after manual review is compulsory if you have included some short answers which are to be checked by you manually. So it is better you keep it as later after manual review. Then respondents can see missed questions, what questions they have not done, they have missed. Then they can see the correct answers. This is very risky in case of quizzes. We should not allow them to see the correct answers, because after seeing the correct answers, they try for the fake attempts. And then point values. They can know that which question is of with how much marks. So this can be kept ticked, that they should know that which question is of how much marks. And we should also keep it as later after manual review. Now after these doing all these settings, we will click on save button. Now enter your name. Here you don't need any marks. Enter your date of birth. Here also, okay, I will show you my another form only. Now here you can see enter your name, though it is made compulsory, but it does not require marks. Section does not require marks. Now my questions start from here. So from here, I will go to answer key. When I will click on it, it will ask for the answer key from me. I can choose the right answer. Whatever is the right answer, I will give in the answer key. And also I will specify the points, whatever are the points of my quiz, I can specify those points. Then I will click on done. Now this question is of 1 mark and I have also told the correct answer of it. Then this is the second question, answer key. Again, I will tell the answer, I will assign the points. Then similarly, we will do for these questions. Correct answers. Whatever is the correct answer, I will tell in front of it, and then I will also assign the points to it. Click on binary 2, and then I can also assign points to each one of them, and then I'll click on done. And we should also make every question compulsory to attempt by clicking on this. Require a response in each row, so then only it will have a red mark which do not allow the person to move forward without attempting it. So we should check this in every question. Then we can also add an image to the question, as it was a query yesterday that if you want to add the equations, so you can type it in Microsoft Word, then save it as the image, whatever is the question of equation, you can save it as an image, and then you can add it over here. See, I want to add an image over here, I will click on this button. Now this image can be uploaded from Google also. Google image search से भी आप search कर सकते हैं, or you can upload it from your computer. You can browse and you can search for any such picture. Right now I don't have any such picture on my desktop. Okay, now suppose I want to insert this picture, then click on open. After this picture will be added over here. You can increase or decrease the size of the picture that you have added. Then you can also click on this picture and resize also you can do. So this is whenever you want any picture clue to be given along with the question. So I think I have covered all types of questions and I have also told you how you can assign marks to it. Please let me know if you have any queries. Yes, teachers, please let me know if there's any query.
No, ma'am, it's clear.
Gunjan ma'am, if we go with that sign in with Gmail ID,
Yes.
we will not face any problem because every Android phone is working through the Gmail ID.
But ma'am, not the iOS phones.
Okay, got it.
So generally the people who own iOS, they are tech savvy enough that they will log in. But still it depends upon your audience. I cannot comment anything further on it. It depends upon your audience. If you think your audience can cope up with it, then on that feature, otherwise keep it off.
Otherwise, no other option to just avoid fake attempts because
No.
they can do otherwise.
Yes, otherwise they can.
Okay, thank you.
But you can make it compulsory since we have email IDs of every student. So you can make it compulsory that you have to log in with the email ID that you have provided to the school and then you have to attempt. Let's see, you can try it for one test at least.
Thank you.
Yes, something else? Veena ma'am?
हिंदी में मैचिंग करना हो तो
हिंदी में
मैचिंग करना हो, मिलान करना हो, जैसे
कुछ भी कर सकते हैं मैम, आप हिंदी में टाइप कर सकते हैं।
नहीं, टाइप तो कर सकते हैं, दूसरी साइड भी बच्चों को टेस्ट के लिए
बच्चों के पास हिंदी में ऑप्शन लिखे हुए आएंगे मैम।
एक बार थोड़ा बता देते, मैं उस हिसाब से।
एक्चुअली ये फोन पे ज्यादा अच्छा होता है हिंदी का काम। स्टिल आई विल ट्राई।
ठीक है। नहीं, मैचिंग वैसे बता दो, वो तो मैं लिख लेती हूँ। बच्चों को टेस्ट में देने के लिए।
देखिए, अच्छा आपको मैचिंग समझना है खाली कैसे होता है?
हाँ, टेस्ट में बच्चे कैसे करेंगे वो तो मैं लिख दूंगी।
देखिए, आपने ये क्वेश्चन क्रिएट किया, आपने लेफ्ट हैंड साइड वाले भी सारे ऑप्शन दे दिए, राइट हैंड साइड वाले भी सारे ऑप्शन दे दिए। इसके लिए आपको यहाँ पे चूज करना है मल्टीपल चॉइस ग्रिड, ये चूज करना है आपको क्वेश्चन टाइप में। फिर आपको लेफ्ट हैंड साइड वाले सारे ऑप्शंस टाइप करने हैं, राइट हैंड साइड वाले सारे ऑप्शंस टाइप करने हैं। देन आंसर की पे क्लिक करके आपको यहाँ पे सही आंसर बताना है कि इसका क्या आंसर है, इसका क्या आंसर है। ऑल 4 आंसर्स यू विल टेल एंड यू विल आल्सो असाइन पॉइंट्स टू इट। कौन सा कितने points का है, that also you will assign. Then you will click on done. Now how the student will see it? You can go here on the question and they will see it like this only. Now they have to choose the option octal, hexadecimal, decimal, binary. So student will choose like this. They will match like this. I hope it is clear, ma'am.
I will do. Thank you so much, Gunjan.
Most welcome, ma'am. One thing I forgot to tell, you can add pictures also. Like you can see a picture over here. So this type of pictures can be added from here. Either you can give just a color or you can you can upload an image. In this also there are many images by default. Otherwise you can upload from your system or you can search it on the Google also. These are the photos from my drive. Here you can upload from the system. और यहाँ पर आपको पहले से कुछ बने हुए designs मिले हुए हैं. You can choose any one of them and then you can click on insert. So this way a picture can also be inserted on the top of your form. Yes, please ask for any other problem.
Gunjan ma'am,
Yes, ma'am.
ma'am, can we create this Google form as a timed quiz?
No, ma'am. We can create it with the help of add-ons, but I won't suggest to use add-ons on this public platform because it may get risky.
But ma'am, I use the add-ons. It creates the time limit for just like 3 minutes or the 5 minutes. But
Yes.
if we are using the add-on, na, they are allowed for only one participant, not for.
One participant.
Yes, if one participant conducted the quiz or took part in the quiz, then add-on is automatically disappear.
No, ma'am. There must be some options for allowing all the participants. You need to browse through the options.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Welcome.
Gunjan ma'am,
Yes.
if we are sharing these kind of tests through our emails or Gmails or means Google Drive, so
Yeah.
we have to change some setting in our who can see these
No, I will show you how you can share, ma'am. Again, this thing also was left. See, you have to click on send. Now, if you are sending through email, which I won't recommend to send through email because people are not that tech savvy, you can click on this link option. Now here you will find this link. You can click on shorten URL. This lengthy link will be shortened. Then you can copy this link and just by opening your WhatsApp, you can just paste that link and you can share it with your students. I hope it is clear.
Yes.
What else?
Gunjan ma'am, to check the responses, only email IDs are prominent. Because I've taken this test for class 11th, PT2
Yes.
English. When I check the responses, although I know about how to make the question paper, everything, but when I was checking the responses, only email IDs were prominent. Otherwise, if I wanted to know their names, I have to just scroll it and then the name used to be prominent. So is there any other remedy for this or only
And whatever you will ask from the students, whether it is email ID, name, everything they will fill.
I told them to fill class also and the stream also. Everything was prominent, but I have to scroll down just to have the glimpses of the names and all. Na?
I mean, response sheet, it is just like an Excel sheet. You can just view it by scrolling it up and down.
Okay, okay.
Just now I have shown you the response sheet also, how it will appear.
Because it took lot of time na, to see the responses.
Yes, once you have closed the quiz, you are not accepting anything, you can just download it as an Excel and you can apply all sorts of filters to it.
Fine, fine. So that I was not aware of it.
Okay.
Because 150 responses were there and I was scrolling up and down just to see the glimpses of
Yes, ma'am.
my class.
Once you download it, you can apply filters to it, like you can sort it section wise, class wise.
Okay.
So all those things can be done.
Okay, ma'am.
Gunjan ma'am, what is the difference between TestMoz and this Google Drive test or Google?
And frankly speaking, I have not ever tried TestMoz, but yes, I feel that it has some limitations. Like when I said yesterday that it has a limit of 100, to which I got the answer that is the option of cloning.
And clones. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. But what I feel is that it is all the responses of the test are saved in my drive. I can access it anytime, anywhere. And I feel that it is better. I can maintain my record in a better way because I can download it as an Excel and save it in my system. So the responses are always there with me.
We have also a record of our last test. Whenever we want, we can go there and get the result.
In Testmos also you can find all the records.
Yes, test link.
Ma'am,
Yes,
we
ma'am.
can save in the Excel files. It's the same way. There is an option, copy to
Gunjan
clipboard.
ma'am,
Yes ma'am.
can we make clones in this Google form?
मैम इसमें क्लोन की जरूरत ही नहीं है because you can accept thousands of entries.
बट दूसरे सब्जेक्ट टीचर को अगर हमें जैसे देना है तो हम अपनी मेल कैसे दे पाएंगे? फिर हमें अपनी मेल देनी पड़ेगी उन्हें।
एक्सेल डाउनलोड करके दोगे उनको।
एक्सेल डाउनलोड कर।
Yeah, download it as an Excel and share with the teachers. Or you can share the link of that particular spreadsheet. वो spreadsheet जैसे मैंने आपको बताया था share करके आप उसको share कर सकते हो। Without downloading also you can share. Download करके भी आप share कर सकते हो।
Collaborator also we can make.
Yes, you can also add as a collaborator. Anything else?
No, ma'am. Thank you so
Please
much.
keep on asking if there's any doubt on my personal window.
Ma'am.
It is clear. It is very much clear.
Thank you so much.
You have sorted out all the queries actually.
But please do practice, otherwise you will forget.
Yeah, they look easier, but when you do it, no, you tend to.
Gunjan ma'am.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Please practice.
Gunjan
Ma'am.
Yes,
Can
Hello, Gunjan ma'am.
Can you send recording, ma'am, of this?
Yes, I will send.
Okay. Thank you.
Leena ma'am, you are saying something?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm saying that can you just share the recording, because if you want to just see the things again, then
Yes, ma'am, I
it
will
is,
share the recording.
easier
Don't
for
worry, I
us,
will
no?
share.
Gunjan ma'am, is everything
Because there are so many things, so
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Meenakshi ma'am.
everything is
because we can practice.
Is it easily? Yes, Gunjan ma'am.
Thank you, Neha ma'am. Yes, yes, Meenakshi ma'am.
Means we can do easily everything on phone also, na?
Yes, ma'am. All the apps of Google, may it be Sheet or maybe Docs or Drive, everything is available as an app on phone, and it is user friendly. Whatever you have learned on laptop, you can do the same thing on phone also.
Meenakshi, I made on phone only.
Okay. I tried, but I didn't use that. I tried, but okay. Thank you, Gunjan ma'am, once again.
It's a request for everyone. Please practice, otherwise you will forget.
Sure, Gunjan ma'am. Definitely. Thank you so much. It was a wonderful session. And one thing is very important. You are sending the recording also, na? It will be helpful for us in revision and practicing the things, na?
Yes, ma'am.
Gunjan ma'am, may I ask one more question? That
Yes.
is not regarding this, but I just wanted, how can I convert PPT into PDF format?
Same process, ma'am. Same process. Just like I told you, na, you can download as like I have shown for spreadsheet. Download as Excel. Download as PDF. The same option you will find in PPT also.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Any other queries, please? Yes, Meenakshi ma'am, you can bother me anytime. No problem. Should I end?
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Most welcome.
Thanks for your cooperation. And that time I was not doing that. That was done by mistake.
Okay, okay, fine. It was just an example that you can point out the teachers, the students
Yes.
also, those who are doing it.
Exactly. Exactly. And
Yes.
that was the only one thing which I learned that was the most important thing which I learned in the last session.
Yes, ma'am.
Because I faced a lot of problem in my activity time. The children started scribbling on the screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much for
And
your...
I forgot to teach Manasvita. See, I'm
Oh,
teaching to all, but I forgot to teach her during our assembly session.
these small things teach us that we have to keep these small things in mind. Otherwise, we'll face problems.
But we must say she was mind blowing during that assembly. I was really impressed.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So thank you all for being a patient listener. And please feel free to ask any queries on my personal window anytime. Time is also not a bar. And thank you. With this, I end the meeting.
Thank you, ma'am.